right, well, the team's back in the saddle. King Z is back. We're not going to let this opportunity go by to chat about an absolute cluster bomb of a movie that just came through theaters lately. And I haven't spoken to King Z yet to get his take on Madame Webb. Y'all know my take on it. I did a video last week. I was there Wednesday night, promptly when that came out, because I had to see it, and it was a laugh factory for me. I figured I'd get King Z's take on it while it's still fresh in the zeitgeist, because there's still stories being made about this movie. You know, the star Dakota Johnson's come out and said she hasn't seen the completed project on her own. There's all these articles about Marvel behind the scenes, kind of scrambling to like retool and reconfigure some things, and they're trying to pump the industry full of stories about the Fantastic Four casting and the X-Men '97 trailer release, the Wolverine Deadpool story is gaining, momentum because that's coming out around the corner. They're doing anything they can to get away from this and avoiding mentions of how little it's going to make and how it's likely going to perform less than even the Marvels did, which still ranks 33 out of 33 of the MCU movies, having barely crossed 200 million.
Well, this one isn't. This one isn't MCU though. This one's Sony Spider-Verse. I won't even insult Spider-Verse. Yeah. It's the Spider-Man villain verse, I would call it.
I think they call it the Venom verse unofficially. I think that's what they call it. But I've never seen any media with that actual label.
Yeah, where you actually never see like Spider-Man in any of these.
It's everybody but Spider-Man, and that was one of the funniest parts of Madame Webb, is that Peter Parker's in this movie, but they can't say his name because they don't have the rights to say Peter Parker. They don't have the rights to say May Parker, like that they could use Ben Parker because he hasn't been featured in anything recently or some nonsense.
In the MCU,
in there, right? I thought that was kind of funny. Dude, so my thoughts are already known. You guys can go check out the video. I'll do one of these finger pointing things that everybody does, and I'll try to remember that I pointed generally over here. Oh, by Spider-Man. That's right. I got a canvas print of him up there. Dude, real quick, 10-second first impression of the movie, because you had me going for a second the other day when I said, dude, when you get back, let's dunk on this. And you're like, what makes you think I'm going to dunk on this? I was like, oh, son of a bitch. He's going to do that thing. He's going to do that thing where I said something was absolutely awful. He's going to make me think about it for an hour. And then I'll be, all right, it's not awful. Dude, 10 seconds. Overall impression.
Right. So after seeing your review, because I saw it, I was technically on vacation. My wife actually came up to my undisclosed location and spent a week with me. And that's who I went to go see this with, as we were just trying to spend time together. And movies are not that expensive, and there's nothing else out. We've already seen One Love, which I do recommend go see that. So we're sitting there and we were watching it, and I was catching on to things. I went in very low expectations. I saw the report about the actress not actually seeing the movie, her complaints about her co-stars, about them being annoying. And the only reason she did this job is because she got paid.
Don't blame her for that. Cash that check, Dakota.
But
knock yourself out. That's cool.
But I wanted to like it because I liked the idea of Madame Webb. I wanted to like it because it's in the Spider-Man villain verse or Venom verse, whatever you want to call it. I liked villain verse better because I did like the Venom movies. Rise of Carnage a little bit less than the first Venom, but I think Tom Hardy did great as Venom. The voice of Venom was great, and their back and forth was what really made that. But we're not here to talk about Venom. We're here to talk about Madame Webb. And I watched the opening scene, and I'm like, nobody talks like this. So that just set the whole tone for the whole thing.
When I tried to do my video the other day, I laughed for 5 minutes and had to retry it 3-4 different times, because every time I started, I tried to dial it in to be serious, and it literally it just cracked. Because I'm like, I see people online talking about this movie is that it's, you can't take it serious and it's so bad it's good. And I'm like, no, this movie barreled through the barricade of so bad it's good right into the badlands of just, this is crap. Right. And I can only laugh about it in retrospect. And exactly what you just said right now, how nobody talks like that. If this movie, and I don't remember if I made this comparison in my review or not, but the acting from her specifically was so tonally weird.
Cardboard?
It was not even, it was just weird. right? It was like Wahlberg in The Happening. It was just off. Like, it was just bizarre. Where there was, I think they were trying to do some comic relief at different points or add some levity at certain points, and it never landed. Like, it was just,
No.
it was like if it was 3 seconds later, it was just misdelivered. And I'm like, oh man, like none of this is funny. And like outside, I mean, I think they had one good scene, one serious dramatic scene where her boss dies, the ambulance, the captain of the ambulance company. Like they wanted that to hit so hard, like so hard. They wanted that to be Ben Parker bleeding out in the street.
But the problem with that was that they never built the relationship between her and her
They were
boss.
in a barbecue for 2 minutes.
It would have been, it would have hit harder if it was Ben. Yeah. And if you can't pick up spoilers, just say it now. Spoiler.
Yeah.
If you couldn't pick up that was Ben Parker at the very beginning, then you're just wrong. Because one, they cast a very great comedic actor to play a sidekick in a movie. Like, no. And then they kept calling him Ben, and they're like, oh, he's going to be a great uncle. And I'm like, oh, come on, could you telegraph it anymore?
Didn't it have his name tag? Or am I just remembering that because I know what those uniforms look like, and they typically do have like the name pin that would say the last name on it.
No, it said the first name. It said Ben.
Did it say Ben? Oh,
yeah.
See, that's a scam and a half because I'm pretty sure hers said Webb on it because that was her name, Cassandra Webb. So that's playing a little loose with the rules over there, a little loosey-goosey. But yeah, dude, I think that was that they wanted that scene to absolutely obliterate, like the death of Bruce Wayne's parents. You know, Ben Parker in the alley, Superman in the Fortress of Solitude talking to his father. Like they wanted that punch. You know, Professor Xavier talking to Logan or talking to Jean. Like there's a million of those scenes that we know coming up from comics. And even when the MCU gets things right, they wanted that moment, and my God, it was like watching somebody fall down the stairs, slide across the floor, and then fall down more stairs. That's how off this whole production was for me, like emotionally and tonally.
But I mean, not even to talk about just how bad her performance was. I mean, she did get a little bit better towards the very end of it, where she got to do her little stuff a little bit. She did get a little bit better. But who was off 100%, 110% of the time, because even when he wasn't on screen and he was a voiceover, he was off. And that was the antagonist in this.
Yeah, dude. What was his name?
I have no idea, and I honestly don't care.
Bro, I forgot his name while I was throwing my garbage away walking out, because I'm like, I actually stopped. I was walking down the, you walk out the back half of the hall under the stadium seats and you throw your trash away, right?
Yeah.
I didn't make it to the trash can. I was like, I have no idea what that villain's name was. I remember Malekith's name from Thor Dark World. That was probably my least favorite Marvel movie in 20 years. I don't remember his name. I don't care. I thought that character was stupid.
The actor had such bad delivery of his lines, of his motivation, everything. It was just bad. And the best part is when walking out, and me and my wife are in the car, and I'm like, and I always do the same thing, like, so what do you think?
Yeah.
And she's like, for the first 75% of that movie, there was no likable characters.
Who was likable at the end?
The girls got a little bit likable.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that. Let's talk about them for a couple minutes, because the setup for the criticism for this movie, I think, was always going to be what people warned about. When they started making this movie 3, 4, 5 years ago, we were going to enter that peak girl boss phase. It's female led in the movie. It's female led behind the camera. I think a woman wrote the crux of the film. Also, you have not one female lead. What's that?
I'm like, she needs to spend some time at a coffee shop and listen to conversations.
Saying, you get a female lead. There's 3 female supporting sub character main leads. The group, the team that they envisioned 5 years after the fact having their team up movie. It had all those things ready made for people to be critical of, right? And I think much like you just said, I came out of that movie saying to myself, they weren't remotely the worst part of this movie. They were paper thin. They were kind of dull, but it wasn't like nails down a chalkboard watching them get on in the diner scene, or when they had to take care of each other later in the movie. but none of them were developed enough in any meaningful way for me. I don't know. Like, did you have a favorite of those three? I mean, I thought they were like paper thin D&D characters that had just been like pre-rolled with like back.
Yeah,
This is
no,
backstory.
they weren't even D&D. They were NPCs.
That's even better. That's what I mean. Like they pulled a subset of a backstory. Like, you're the rich one whose parents don't care. You're the orphan who's on her own. You're the other, like, and I'm like, oh god, I've seen these. This is just like if you get the 20 master sub character, like you said, supporting character plotline books, and you just pull one off the table. And it's like when I was doing my dig for the movie, they're all based on actual characters from Spider-Woman comics, the Spider-Man world. But it took them like 25 years for them to all be invented and, like, you know, enter the comic timeline. Why bother having all three of them just dumped into this movie? Like, would it not have been better just to have Cassie Webb and the first one of them? You know what I mean? And she's going to find her powers, but also we're building in the next one to have because she's going to put together her little team or something. Or just have a different storyline at all. If you had to make the movie, it just seems like it was way too complicated for what they could pull off.
But that's not even who Madame Webb actually becomes. She becomes the person who maintains the... she pretty much goes after time travelers. Any people who try to interrupt the main timeline. She's actually the Spider-Man version of the TVA.
TVA, right. But they weren't going to make that because they weren't going to hire somebody that's as old as your grandma, put her in a wheelchair, and have her sit still the entire movie.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Perfect casting.
They weren't going to hire somebody as old as your grandma, put her in a chair, and have her sit there the entire movie. That was never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Jamie Lee Curtis is right there.
I know, but they also stuck her in Borderlands, and we're going to have to talk about that at some point, too, because, my God, that trailer looked awful. I don't know why they thought Kevin Hart could play Roland. But anyway, again, side note, different problem, different day. Madame Webb, right? A lot out there today. So, I don't know. I didn't mind the three girls. What did you think of them from their entry point where they were antagonistic to each other to the end?
I did not think that it was one of those female empowering purpose movies. No, they stuck to pretty much what they wanted to do. And as I was watching, and let me say this, as I was watching, I'm like, there is a good movie tracked behind a bad writer and a bad performance.
Agree.
There's a good movie in there. There are points that was good. And I kept thinking of the Nicolas Cage movie Next. Because that's exactly what Madame Webb becomes, where she could see the different timelines and see how things are going to, I'm going to see, I can look here and see what's going to happen. And then, like, in Nets, you have Nicolas Cage, who just see, I think, 11 seconds in the future, except for one person who has a huge impact on his life, he could see. But then he expanded his powers enough where he could go through every possibility he could walk through and see where it would he would end up. And that's exactly what Madame Webb was. So they've already done the movie. The concept was out there, and he was preventing a nuclear attack. She's trying to save these three girls because they were going to be killed. And, like, it had nothing to do with, like, her trying to build her nest or anything. She saw their death, wanted to save them because she saw the death. And then it turned into something much bigger after that. But the girls themselves, I thought, like you said, it was cookie cutter type stories. You had no real attachment to them. As my wife said, 75% of the movie, you'd have no likable characters. Like, you have the rich one who doesn't care, who flipped off an ambulance. I mean, first off, that opening scene with the ambulance, like, who's not getting out of the way of an ambulance? I don't care if you live in New York City, Chicago, or rural Minnesota. You're going to get out of the way when you see those lights.
You're probably not going to, and even if you don't, you're probably not going to flip one off walking away.
Yeah.
That was just weird. That part was weird. I'll give you that.
And first off, and then she turned the lights back on and the siren. Why did she turn them off in the first place?
I don't know. I had a checklist of stupid scenes like that I just noted. I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Like, I've worked adjacent to that field for a long time. That's not how that works.
But like I said, it could have been a really good movie that was tracked behind bad writing.
I agree. One of the things I mentioned quickly in my video, if you remember, I said, I think I've seen this kind of movie before in, like, the early 2000s, where, like, they could have had a Sandra Bullock character who had that ability. She saw 15 seconds into the future, and for whatever reason, she felt compelled to protect somebody she saw dying, But instead of a Spider-Man universe thing, it should have just been a serial killer. There were these 3 women that a serial killer was after. She saw their deaths. She knew she had to prevent them for whatever mysterious reason she wasn't fully aware of. But they could have legit just spent 90 minutes doing the cat and mouse thing, like a bunch of that kind of subgenre of thrillers has done. You know, movie not specifically like Memento, but you know, I mean, that feel of those kind of movies, like Memento or the one with John Cusack at the hotel when he ended up having like the split personalities. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Identity.
Identity. And I mean, there was a vibe for that kind of movie back in the day. Yeah, like the other movies like Hush with Michael Douglas, stuff like that. There was that subgenre of films that were just those thrillers that typically had like a female police detective as like the lead, or, you know, or another female character that was just in the milieu of a bad thing that happened. And then for whatever reason, she's the one that had the ability to see the future. I feel like there was a lot of that stuff like 20 years ago. This could have been that. It didn't need a fake Spider-Man villain that nobody's heard of this guy. Period.
No. Or the tribe that had all these abilities that it was based off of.
Nobody's heard of that, and that was some of the cheesiest shit that I've seen, even in comic book movies. You know, your mom came down here to find the cure for MS or for GB or whatever it was that you were going to be born with, and stop. Like, no. This is a little weak. But yeah, on the subject of the 3 girls, just while we're on that particular trio, like once again. And this is another one of those stories coming out where they had some of the demographic breakdowns about who goes to see superhero movies. And once again, of course, the demographic split is like 65, 70 guys and like 25, 35 female. Again, even for a movie as bad as this, just like the Harley Quinn movie, you told guys this wasn't for us. And we still went more anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And we still went more to go see a movie with 4 bona fide attractive ass women. All 4 of them are really good looking. All of them. Sydney Sweeney, notwithstanding being the hottest one by far, but literally all 4 of these women are attractive. And they dressed them all down to nothing, particularly Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney, who then showed up to the premiere of the movie looking like smoke shows. You know what I mean? Like, guys, attention Hollywood, make movies and put them in it that way. It's okay. Everybody likes eye candy. No one tells you can't have Thor being all topless in a Thor movie or Chris Evans topless chopping wood. Dudes don't care. No one's talking about the female gaze. If you want to make more money, put attractive people back in films. Just do it. You're going to learn the hard way. You've been learning the hard way, just like video games are learning the hard way. Side note, have you seen people are upset that that movie coming out, the game coming out, Stellar Blade, has a very attractive female protagonist, and of course Twitter went nuts talking about there's no women that actually look like that. So the game studio actually posted pictures of the woman that they had they did the mocap suit for like the game, and it's exactly that. She's exactly that attractive. Heads exploding everywhere. But again, side note for a different day, I just wanted to mention that. But what do you think of these? What do you think of this movie trying to appeal to maybe a demographic very close to your wife? She probably skews in that group. Women probably between like teens and 40, something like that.
Well, my wife's a little bit younger.
She's somewhere between teens and 40.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
That's right.
Okay, there we go. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot the teen part that you said.
Yeah, I said that was right in there.
That was on me. Honestly, I don't think they even tried that. They didn't try to appeal to anyone. They just tried to put out a movie, and that's what it looks like. It was like me grabbing 4 of my friends and like, let's go make a movie, and we're gonna put it out there, and we're gonna slap Spider-Man on it, and it's it's like the have you seen the Indian version of Spider-Man?
Only in Across the Spider-Verse.
No, not even that. Like, there's a Bollywood version.
You mean real world? Oh no, God.
Yeah, real Bollywood Spider-Man. It is hilarious.
I need to see that. I need to do a reaction to that.
It's like that.
Yeah,
but
it looks like cosplay. It looks like crap cosplay, dude.
I don't mind movies that are made for different demographics. Yeah. I mean, they need to see movies with, people who look like them, who are heroes and stuff like that. And it's not even like these are like certified characters in the MCU. Great. It's perfect.
Why does it suck?
But they deserve better. You need to get real writers in there. you need to get maybe a real director who knows how to pull something out of people, and maybe someone who actually cares enough to go watch your work when you're done with it. Do something that you're proud of that you want to go see. So that's the big thing.
Damning.
When the lead actress goes, I haven't even seen it, means that she didn't even care enough of her performance to go see it.
And just even in talking about the three girls reminded me of something else that kind of perturbed me about the movie. And I'll get your read on it as well. We got every second of them suited up and kicking ass in the trailer, right? And that means that in the entire runtime of 6.5 days or however long this mess was,
2 hours and 49 minutes.
Good God. It was 6 seconds of them in flash forwards, and that was it. Like, all the superhero stuff was in that trailer, except for the end scene of the movie, wherein it was just really just Cassie manipulating where people had to be to avoid stuff crashing into them or grabbing them before they fall, or her shoving somebody out of the way before they got shanked or something like that. But if you guys aren't keeping up on seeing the movies, things like that as they come out, this isn't a standard superhero flick in that kind of way. You're not seeing these three chicks put costumes on and become a crime fighting team at any junction in this movie. That does not happen, no matter how heavily they may have relied on some of those images, some of the still shots that have all four of them suited up and standing side to side, and with Cassie looking over them and everything. That's not in this. Like, it's kind of a bait and switch in my opinion. I hate shit like that. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even show them how they obtain their powers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They just
and
have them.
It's all different ways from what I read, because I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, they all got their powers from different ways. One of them is even a symbiont.
Yep. So yeah, they give you nothing. They don't give you, like you said, they don't give you Cassie until the very end, after she's injured and blinded, and becoming more of the official Madame Webb character. It's literally the end of the effing movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, I guess so. So it's a superhero movie it's an origin story about an origin story.
It's forced. That's the best way to say it. It's forced. Everything in this movie is forced. It was like, this had to happen so this could happen. There was no like flow to it. I mean, I've already beat the dialogue to death. The dialogue is all just completely awful. The delivery was even worse, especially from the bad guy. Like, every time he was on screen and he talked, it was, we got to do this. I was like, this guy's horrible. His whole delivery is horrible.
Let's talk about the bad guy for a quick second, right? So here's King Bad Guy, who steals the rare spider from the Amazon or something, gets powers, he can do spider stuff or whatever. So he's got the strength, the agility. He's basically evil Spider-Man. We don't see him web sling. He can walk, crawl. He's got super strength, whatever.
And he has a little bit of the spider sense.
He can see. He gets a bit of the tingle, right? So he seduces a top-level NSA agent in 10 seconds and gets her access codes and kills her or something. Like, that's not something that she would have been trained to avoid, being
or carry
being
on her.
Fly. Or, you know what I mean? It's just that was kind of dumb. I didn't like that. Like, I get he's rich and he's wealthy, so he could have the big media set up in 2004 and have facial recognition tech. I don't think we had it that good in 2004. We might have. That was right after 9/11. That might have been the advent of that. It's already been a long time since then. So I don't know. But he's privately paying some fake hacker chick to sit in a chair and watch camera feeds or something.
Don't get me started on the hacking.
That's why I did it. So they got that going for him. So he's got all this advantage going in his favor, right? Yep. And for some reason, James Bond villain monologues every opportunity he has to kill any of these four people he's trying to kill. He's only trying to kill the three girls. Yeah, he's not out for Cassie until the end. Right.
Yeah.
But he's got them dead to rights on several occasions, and because the movie needs them all to survive, because they're all named characters from the comics that they want to, perpetuate forward, like he fails. Like, it's one blunder after another without even any close calls.
But did you catch the biggest part that was wrong? His premonition was that those three girls are going to kill him, and that's not even how he died.
Oh, right. Yep. Now see, and that's another, and let's skip right to the end, because I think that's the last thing I want to talk about, right? The ending was so pathetically stupid, right? We get the setup scene where Cassie teaches these three girls CPR.
Yep.
Okay. Hang the neon sign right above it. We're going to use CPR to save Cassie. You get that? We're going to use CPR to save Cassie.
And first off, their CPR formation was wrong. Their measurement was wrong on CPR. Their beats per minute was wrong. Didn't teach them how to sing the song in their head to keep the beats right.
As a guy that's done CPR live, yes.
was the handoff was the only thing that they did right in the whole. And no one's doing breaths. Right. Every 20 compressions, you do 2 breaths.
Let me tell you the other thing that doesn't add up there. And this is the unpleasant truth of CPR. Shit don't work like it works in the movies, boys and girls. If you can't get an AED in there to shock somebody, that person's probably going to die. If it's a cardiac event, it's probably over.
Also, that ambulance would have stopped immediately after the AED went off on the roof.
Fact. That was kind of awesome, though, but still. That was
one of the better parts of the movie.
I'll let that slide, because at least that was fun. I'm just talking about right at the end, right? So we go through the stupidity of the CPR, and I like that they at least tried to be like, well, you guys said you like setup and payoff. I'm like, no. Setup's when something happens a long time ago, and then it's allowed to germinate, and I forget about it a little bit, and you seed little bits along the way, and then bam, you bulldoze it at the end of the movie. This happened 15 minutes prior, okay? We get the whole Cassie assumes her place in the web of fate or some bullshit, and she sees all the outcomes, and she's moving people. She's moving the girls out of harm's way. They're running through an industrial park on the roof for some reason. I'm like, bitch, get on the ground. Everybody run on the street. Okay, stop climbing up towers and shit. Get down, right? They get they're all doing all their things. They're ducking out of the way. They're dodging some shit. The bad guy, I don't even remember the setup, but like the bad guy falls. He's on the ground, and the big S that she had seen in her dreams or premonitions or whatever falls and crushes him. Right? We've seen this dude like bench press a car earlier or something. Like, we know he's super strong. We know this. We've seen evidence.
He's been hit by an ambulance and a taxi already.
This is what I'm saying. Right? Oh, that's right. It was the taxi. The taxi fell on him. Right? Because she drove it onto. That was actually nothing. I didn't mind that.
No, that was the ambulance. That was the ambulance.
Was the one that came driving through.
Yeah, she came driving to the top and hit him out of the air with it.
I like that. I was like, okay, that was kind of fun for a stupid superhero. I'm down with that. But like, so we know this dude's not gonna die because something heavy fell, but it did. It was just like that stupid shit in no, I call it WandaVision. It's not. It's a Multiverse of Madness, where like alternate Captain Marvel is killed when the Scarlet Witch just drops a statue on her, and like that's enough to kill that Captain Marvel. Like, really? Because I was told she's the most powerful Avenger in any world, and like a stone fell on her, and that was it. She couldn't just do this and just burn right through stone. She flew through fucking Thanos' ship in Endgame. The stone killed her? Okay. Again, separate issue, separate day. Like, the bad guy, dude, weak sauce, dude, discount, eye-party, Spider-Man, Venom costume, no menace, no cunning. The plan, the billionaire bad guy's plan was just to follow these people. He wasn't going to put out money on the street and have people call him in and, like, put muscle down to go get them first. If this dude had 15 generalized kingpin thugs working for him, this movie's over in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah. No. I don't know if you wanted to comment on the bad guy at the end or anything.
I want to comment about the hacking. Let's talk about this hacking. Okay.
Oh God. No, you said you weren't going to do it. Don't do it.
So let's talk about his little setup where he's plugged into every camera in New York City. In 2003.
Yep.
First off, not every camera's networked. When they say, I'm in their CCTV, that is literally impossible. CCTV stands for closed circuit television, meaning there's no network, so you can't hack into it. Number two, when they turn all the street lights green, you can't just go on your keyboard and type for 3 seconds and all of a sudden you're in the traffic light area and be able to turn them all green. you would have to have a presence there already that's calling back that you have access to. One, a lot of times you don't have access to when they actually call back. It's at random times. That way you don't get caught. You do it at times when there's not a lot of network traffic that's supposed to be going out. Or you do it in heavy network traffic so it blends in. Yep. You can't just do it at will on call. 90% of hacking, if I did a movie on actual what hackers do, it would be the most boringest 30 minutes of your life as they're running scans and they're looking for ports. And then they're
coffee,
like a dictionary attack would be more entertaining if I took a dictionary and threw it at you than watching a dictionary attack on your passwords.
Dude, do you remember back in the day? I think it was like 98. It was Sandra Bullock in The Net. It was like one of the first movies in the modern era that like right as the internet was really coming through. And their version of hacking was just typing and looking really typing fast and looking serious. Like, no.
The worst one is NCIS. Two idiots on a keyboard. Yeah. As we called it.
Or 24. 24 had a bunch of that too with the counterterrorism unit doing it. Cue the serious music, cue the serious close up on the eyes, typing fast, hacking.
You know which one was actually pretty good at it? Was the first Mission Impossible movie where Homeboy's sitting in the elevator plugged into the network. Oh my God, that would actually work.
But you know it didn't work, dude? Just about everything about Madame Webb, as predicted. And I hope there's videos being made now, big channels like the Critical Drinker, who we love here on Winter Wolf's Den, doing videos about like the end of the girl boss era. And let's wrap up our talk today on that kind of thought. We've had, let's say, since Ghostbusters 2016, we're coming up on like 10 years of we've tried to flip all these things on their head. Most of these projects have failed miserably. I think that with the exception of a few like what was the Oceans one that had all the women? Was that Oceans 8? I always get the numbers
wrong. Oceans
wrong.
8. That was actually really good. I liked it.
This is what I'm saying. A lot of people lump that in with the list of like the woke female failures. And like the numbers actually don't bear that out. Like that movie did okay. I think it was enough star power and recognizable people that folks enjoy that they turned out for that. But for the most part, these movies
they also didn't force it about just women doing it. It just happened naturally.
Right. Which again has always been the exception.
And when you sit there and you write it that way, it would be better instead of trying to force it or flipping known IPs to all female cast, like what they're trying to do for Pirates right now.
Yep.
Trying to turn this Pirates movie into all female.
Yep. It's going to bomb for that reason.
I mean, if you want to do it, but why change a whole successful franchise? If you want to do a female-led pirate ship crew, then do it.
Existed. Yep.
It
existed in history.
But do your own stuff. It's okay. You should be original. Be original. Come on.
King Z's a little frustrated, folks.
I mean, let's talk about it. Jordan Peele is doing this. Jordan Peele was like, I'm tired of seeing movies like this. I'm going to start making movies like this. And he makes original movies. He's not doing a black man as Jason Voorhees. He's not doing a Black Freddy. He's making original content that is outstanding. That's how you do it. You don't have to go and take something that's already created and flip it. You go out there and you make your own stuff and you make it good, like Jordan Peele does. My hat's off to you, Jordan. You are making amazing movies.
I think that's a great reference point too, because when you look at these things that are getting flipped, like you said, the outcomes now border on predictably hilarious. Like we've taken all of these things one way and flipped them to another. And you know what? If they had 51% success rate, I'd be like, okay, then if you're gonna go that route, you're taking your chances. The odds are in your favor. It's better than a hand of blackjack. Knock yourself out. But they're not. Like I said, Ocean's 8 is like 1 in like 15 or 20 or 30 attempts at this that work out. And when you've got the high profile franchises that we're always referencing here that haven't been able to pull that off, wouldn't it make more sense for guys like us or guys like Jordan Peele or Sally Q, first time director, filmmaker, film auteur, writer, like an actual creative person that has an interesting idea for a female lead, regardless of whatever her background is or whatever the job is going to be the character has in the movie? Wouldn't it be more cost effective at this point to give that a shot, to put out a movie that isn't going to cost $180, $200 million, that hopes they can flip the interest in something like Spider-Man or Superman or Batman and then just gender flip it the other way, would it not just be a safer bet to not do that anymore? Like, we've got 8 years of data now, give or take, that suggests this is a bad idea. You know,
I mean,
like where are the big successes? The mainstream successes.
look at Wonder Woman, the original, the first Wonder Woman movie. Outstanding, carrying the whole DCEU on her back.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had the material, they had someone who cared, and they wrote a good movie, and it was outstanding.
Written by a dude. Just saying, written by a dude. You know, and I think that's a great example to hold up against something like Madame Webb, where even though I'll go down swinging and saying this movie wasn't a girl boss movie, like there's 3 male characters in it, none of them are the victims of like any massive fourth wave feminazism or anything like that. She had a very good relationship with Will Arnett's character and with Ben Parker. Like they were obviously friends. It was a good back
That's
and
not
forth.
Will Arnett.
What? Who? That wasn't Will Arnett?
No, that's not Will Arnett.
I thought that was Will Arnett. That's not his name?
No. Oh
shit, who's that guy? He's not the guy from Step Brothers. That's Will Arnett.
No.
Oh, who cares? I don't care what his name is. You look him up. I'm gonna keep talking. Right? She had a good relation. It's guys. It's Will Arnett, right?
No, it's not Will Arnett. I'll tell you right.
All right, he's looking it up. I'll listen. You look it up. I'll finish my point. She had a good relationship with that character, so that worked, right? She had. They were going for a
Adam
good relationship.
Scott.
Adam. Okay. Yeah, that's the guy that did the interview where Mark Hamill came out and he was all shell shocked that he came out on his birthday or some shit. Okay, I remember that now. Anyway, so it's not Will Arnett. I don't care. It's that guy. She had a good relationship with her partner. She would have had a good relationship with her boss. That was a good back and forth there. There was mutual respect. It wasn't awful. You know, the male, the antagonist, he wasn't trying to kill these people because of the patriarchy. Like they were going to kill him because he was a criminal mastermind and they were going to stop him. There weren't any shots at them being lesser because they were women or weak or anything like that. So this wasn't that girl boss kind of movie. It just happened to have a bunch of female leads. This, like a lot of the other things, as we've recalibrated our personal woke-dar to, was just an old school bad movie. That's all this was.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, we need to be able to say these things and judge them equally like we would if it had been all dudes in this movie. Like if it had been the same thing with the genders flipped the other way, this still would have been
a bad movie.
Right. Boring as hell, no punch, stupid dialogue. You know what I mean?
No likable characters.
Just as dumb. No likable characters. I mean, yeah. We're gonna call that how we see it there. Let's get out of here, dude. We'll do our thing. Just give me a number rating out of 10. How low is the bar for this movie? How
2.
low did you guys rate it?
2.
2. Oh, okay. All right. He's a 2 without additional commentary or otherwise. Yeah, dude. I think it's about that bad. I think that outside of a couple of fun scenes, there was so much stupid shit, like these jackasses in the woods starting a campfire and then walking away. That really burned me. No pun intended. I don't know why. Like, this is fucking stupid. Like nobody would do this. You know, there were a couple of things like the ambulance crashing through and the AED through the roof was okay, but there's no superheroing going on in this movie, like at all. None. So it's not that. It's like a female led drama adjacent to superhero films, but it doesn't break through the wall at all. So I'd give it a 2, maybe a 3 because of the AED thing. I don't know. It sucks. Nobody needs to see this. This will be forgotten. It'll be on streaming in a month tops.
And we had to see Baby Peter.
You know whose name they couldn't use. Yeah. So I think that's all we got to say on Madame Webb. King Z, since you're back from vacation, read us up out of here.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching our video and our review on Madame Webb for what it was. If you can look down at our little number right there, we're over 237 now. Now we still owe you a video for going over 200s, and that's still coming, so don't worry. We are going to honor our promise on that. But we are at 237. That means we are on our drive to 5. That's right, 500 subscribers is the new goal. And we need your help. And how you can help us is to hit that thumbs up button, because it does help in the algorithm. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out every time we drop great content. We got a video essay coming up where we talked about one of the common themes in the Winter Wolf's Den, and that's adaptations are hard. We have a 3-part series video essay that we're trying to do on it, and we are also planning on a video for the upcoming release of Dune Part 2. I don't want to say Part 2 because it's not a sequel, it's a continuation.
It's the second half, right? I had that same problem I was talking about earlier. Yep.
Yeah,
We're doing that.
Dune after halftime.
Dune after the half. I like that. We can call it that.
Yeah. So we got that coming out on March 1st. I'm actually going out on March 1st. I'm splurging a little bit at one of the theaters here. It is a theater that has a 280 80-degree viewable screen.
What?
Yeah, I'm a little excited to try this out. So we'll be coming out with that. We're going to be doing Dune, the first half. And we're going to talk about that leading into the 2, and then we're going to talk about it all together. I would also like to, I'm going to throw in my knowledge of the 1980s movie, and also to include the made-for-TV movie in the late 90s, early 2000s. Because I am a Dune fan. I think it's a fantastic book. I've played all the video games. So we're going to have some fun with this. And I hope you come along for the fun. But like I said, to come along on the fun as we do this, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit that thumbs up so other people can join the fun too. With that said, King Z out. Winter Wolf, take us home.
Guys, we're just going to go now. See ya.